Let's take a look at the Prometheus and Grafana learning repo. So if you come to my GitHub Devops in Mike, you come to repositories. We are going to be looking at the Prometheus and Grafana learning repo. I'm using the same repository for Prometheus and Grafana. So you can access this repository, Prometheus and Grafana learning. So basically, we are going to be looking at the whole concept on monitoring and observability in DevOps. And for us to perform monitoring and observability, there are two main components. We have Prometheus and Grafana. So for monitoring, basically monitoring focuses on collecting and analyzing metrics, logs, and traces from various systems. Or we can basically collect the logs using different log collection tools. And then observability encompasses monitoring and enables us to be able to gather or view some of these logs. Now, basically in this repository, I've given a basic detail of what Prometheus is and what Grafana. We've looked at the Prometheus architecture, and we are going to be implementing this together. We have our Prometheus server, and then Prometheus server pulls traffic or pulls data from a different set of target resources or target servers. And then we can equally set up Prometheus service discovery that will help us to find our respective targets. So once we set up our Prometheus server to get the various Prometheus logs, we can either store them locally or we can visualize them using a data visualization tool like Grafana. So by the end of this module, we will also be able to set up Grafana to visualize the logs that are from Prometheus, where Prometheus is our data source. Now, if you come back to our repo, basically this is the basic Prometheus architecture. You can understand the various components of the Prometheus architecture, the Prometheus server, the time series database, which is like a database that gives us the collection of the various metrics in our time series form. And then we have our PromQL. Prometheus uses the PromQL, which is a query language mainly for Prometheus to be able to query the targets for the various monitoring metrics. And then we have Alert Manager, which helps us to alert based on certain defined rules. And then, of course, we have exporters. We can set up different exporters to export logs from our different target resources into our Prometheus server. And now this is basically a more detailed explanation of the Prometheus setup. We have pull metrics from our Prometheus targets. We have service discovery, maybe discovering service from a Kubernetes cluster or from a service discovery file. And then we also have our Prometheus server here that basically collects data from our respective targets, and then you can visualize them using data visualization tool like Grafana. So the same thing, visualization. What is visualization? We have Grafana standing out as a main visualization tool. We can use Grafana to set up visualization. Grafana gives us visual data boards which we can use to view our resources. And now the various data sources, or where does the Grafana take data from? We can have data sources like Prometheus. We can have data sources like Elasticsearch, like Graphite, SQL databases or non-SQL databases. We can equally have data sources from cloud platforms like AWS CloudWatch, Google Cloud Monitoring, or Azure Monitor, depending on the integration which you do. That means you can collect data logs from those given cloud platforms and then you send them as data sources to your Grafana dashboard. So that's basically what Grafana is. In this first part of the module, we are going to focus mainly on Prometheus. And now back into our repository, there are some key steps. We have our Prometheus and Grafana setup. So you click on Prometheus and Grafana setups. This is where all the configuration files for Prometheus and Grafana is found. For our Prometheus installation, we have the install prometheus.sh. For us to set up Prometheus, we are using this shell script install prometheus.sh. Once you spin up an instance, you want to run this script on the given instance to install Prometheus on that given instance. The same goes for Grafana. To take note, Grafana is going to be an Ubuntu image. Ubuntu, because our user data here is using apt commands, which is for Ubuntu, whereas Prometheus, we are using a normal sudo yum. So we can use a normal Amazon Linux instance to install Prometheus. So this is the Prometheus installation file. This is the Grafana installation file. This is a node exporter installation file, which we are going to be installing on our individual targets. and then this is a sample prometheus.yaml file. We are going to see what the prometheus.yaml file is. These are some more details on how we can configure Prometheus for our log collection. So this is basically what the Prometheus repository is, and we are going to be using this repository to set up and manage Prometheus for our given application. Let's go right away to set up a Prometheus instance in our next module.